Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's conversation and today's live. We are talking about the Restore Her series. My name is Dacia Ruth. I am the founder of Glow Girl World. I hope that you are excited because we have an amazing story. Do me a favor, if you're here on the live right now, please go ahead and share the live, bring somebody else in, share the live to your spaces. I'm going to take some time to share the live in a second, but I would ask that you would do the same. And if you're on here, go ahead and give us a few comments. Let us shout us out. Let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're from in the comments. Let us know what's going on with you. But thank you for being a part and watching on today's live. We're so excited. This is our third interview as a part of our Restore Her series. And we're going to talk more about the Restore Her retreat happening in Atlanta, Georgia, October 28th through the 30th, right here this year, 2022. So you don't want to miss it. More to come. We have some special things that we're going to give away tonight. We have a lot of great conversation and we have a very amazing guest. And so if you are not already tuned in, you want to go ahead and copy that link wherever you are. If you're on Facebook or if you are on YouTube, go ahead and copy that link. And please invite somebody to come on in the space because we want others to get in tune with what all that we have going on today. Again, I want to, without further ado, I want to just go ahead and bring on this phenomenal guest. We have our fashion coach, and she is coming to you all the way from beautiful Georgia. All right. She's going to tell us a little bit more about herself before we get into her. But you guys give a warm welcome to fashion coach Jada Zhane. Hey, hey. Can you hear me? Are we having any technical difficulties? I can't hear you. Are you muted? Are you muted? I can't hear you. Mm, I know. We can't wait to get this body positivity. So we're having a little technical difficulties. Jada, if I could ask you to just go out and come back in, let's see if we can do that. So we'll just have you come back in 1 second. If you can hear me, if you could put that in the chat. So let me know if you can hear me. And guess what? It's 2022. We have all this wonderful technology, but sometimes the technology fails us. And so it's all good. So we're going to wait for Jada to close out of her session and she's going to come back into the stream. Okay, you can hear me. Hi, Michelle. It's very good to see your comments. Hi, Melinda Thomas. Thanks for being here. So excited to have you. And for those that may be watching the replay, we're excited to have you too. While she's doing that, I just want to share that this story is going to be rich. But in the meantime, we want this to be interactive. So if you have your own stories or anecdotal testimonies about things that maybe you've experienced in your life or areas where if something you hear resonates with you, please go ahead and chime in and let us know. Because I think it's important for us to share. This is about community. This is about us building this community where we have a safe space. Okay. And so what I want to do for those that are first timers to my conversations, or to our conversations around this sisterhood, is that we establish a safe space. So this is an area where we honor each other. We honor what is shared here. We know that it is a sacred conversation and that we are honoring the stories that are said, and that we are leaving space for people to show up fully and transparently. And so if you are honoring this contract, this verbal contract that we're getting into agreement on, I want you to go ahead and put safe space in the chat. For those who are been with us for a while, you already know what it is. But for those who are new, go ahead and honor this request, that this is about transparency and about community, and we're honoring each other. So please go ahead and put safe space in the chat. That would be great. And then let's see if we can put thank you so much for honoring that. Okay, let's see. Let's test out this sound now, Jada. How are we doing? Yes, I can hear.
I'm doing good. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, honey. All right.
Thank
We are
goodness.
in the building.
Thank
All
goodness.
right. Hey, technology, it does what it does
Right.
when it does it, okay? And so what we
Exactly.
do is we learn how to be fluid, and that's what we're doing today. So with that fluidity, thank you for being a part of today. I want you just to tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the people, and then we're gonna get started, okay?
Okay, so hey, my name is Jada. I am currently a fashion coach as well as a therapist. So I'm right now operating as a therapist. I specialize in trauma. I have a certification in trauma, and I also work with couples as well as individuals. And I am also an up and coming fashion coach. So it's really interesting because I'm doing both at the same time, but I'm really leaning into my style roots and my fashion, my love of fashion and my love of creating effects and expressing myself through my clothing. And I think that started years ago. I think I've been in theater since I was 8 years old, from ages 8 to 18. So I really loved the costume of it. When I started at the end of high school, beginning of college, I got really heavy into cosplay, still into it. I am on hiatus right now, but I plan on continuing that back next year. So I like dressing up as characters. I love being like one of the nerds at the conventions like Dragon Con and Comic Con, and just really getting into like putting on different costumes and kind of just expressing myself and my imagination in that way.
I love it. I love it. So this is just you're right up your alley. You were always into fashion. We're going to talk a little bit more about your backstory and what that has entailed for you. But before we get into it, let's do a little fun. Let's do an icebreaker, and then we'll have some other people that'll join in. Um, let's see. Would you rather? Dun 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 dun. Drum roll, please. Would you rather have? Um, um, would you rather have a stylist style you for the rest of your life, where they blindly had to choose your clothing and
Okay.
you had no say so? Or would you rather have an unlimited budget to buy any and everything that you wanted? If you had your say so, would you rather have a stylist that picked out and dressed you every single day? Put it in the chat for those that are listening in. Would you rather have a stylist that styled you, you know, or would you rather just have the funds and then do it yourself and you be the one to um, pick out all of your clothing?
And that's for me too.
That's for you too, but we're going to let the audience go ahead and participate as well.
Okay. Let me know when I can chime on that because I already know.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'll start off. I'll say that while we're letting people to pick, would you prefer to have a stylist or would you prefer to just get the unlimited budget and go ahead and do you? Um, I probably, me myself personally, I probably would stick with a stylist. I probably would just have somebody to, at this point of my life, dress me, tell me what to put on,
Okay.
have it ready. Let me just jump into it because I gotta go. So for me, I think it would make life a lot easier if I just had somebody that could do it for me. But what about you?
I want that budget. I want that budget. Because for me, and we'll talk. I guess we'll get into that at some point. But I do like creating different effects and kind of like what I was saying, um, expressing my imagination through clothing, and I don't want anyone else to express my imagination. I'm like, what if that wasn't what I was imagining today? So, yeah, I definitely wake up every morning and I'm like, I don't know who I want to be today. Um, so yeah, I need that budget to be
I
whoever I want,
listen.
to do whatever I want.
Listen, okay, we had some that said that's a hard one. It was a toss up. Melinda says that I would definitely go with the funds, unlimited creativity. I get it. I get it. So let's go ahead and jump straight into your story. For those that may be listening or tuning in or just coming in, we're going to be talking about a little bit about body positivity and Jada's journey through coming to this place where she is now, where she's looking fly, she's feeling confident. That wasn't always the case, right?
Mhm.
And even still, things change from day to day. So some days you might be feeling yourself, and other days maybe not so much. But let's start it back from the beginning and let's kind of walk it up. So, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this new system where we
Okay.
get to get rid of the fruit. We get to get rid of we no longer are comparing ourselves to the apples, the oranges, the pears, the
Bananas.
grapes, the bananas, the strawberries. Um, Put it
Inanimate
in the
objects.
chat if the fruit system kind of made you feel some kind of way. Um, Put it in the chat if the fruit system made you feel some kind of way at some point. I love to hear your thoughts on that. And while they're doing that, I will say that the fruit system made me feel some kind of way because I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute.
Mhm.
And so let's just kick off right there. Tell me, Jada, what is right and what don't you necessarily care for about the fruit system that kind of made you want to look at some other alternatives?
What's right about the fruit system?
Is there anything that's right?
I don't think there's ever anything where it's 100% wrong. I think it kind of gave women a place to start in terms of like looking at their body and paying attention to what may look good on it or what may not look good on it in their opinion. So I think it's kind of like it definitely starts things out and helps you get to thinking about, okay, what may look better on me and what should I avoid. I think what is wrong with it is it's, in my opinion, it's a little too broad and it's a little unrealistic. Um, it's not, it doesn't accommodate for subtleties. Okay, so if two people are an hourglass, what happens when one's a tall hourglass and what happens when one's a short hourglass? What happens when a person is a muscular hourglass versus someone who is a little softer in the flesh? And just kind of like the subtleties. It also hyper focuses on what you cannot do. It's kind of like, oh, you're an apple. Well, you really need to wear stuff that cover up you being an apple because don't nobody like the way that look anyway. Like it's very shamey. It's a lot of body shame involved in it. And for me, I caught myself always trying to fit into the ones I felt were the most desirable. So if I took a quiz and it gave me rectangle, I took the quiz again and until it gave me what I wanted, because it was clear that the rhetoric was kind of like, this is what you want to be, this is what you don't want to be. And that's what I don't like about the fruit system.
So let's take a step back and let's talk about. I love that you're just clarifying some things, and for somebody that felt like, whoa, that kind of went over my head, and I don't even know where to even begin in defining my style. We're going to get more into that in a little bit. So we're going to come back to that, and we're going to talk more about how do I how do I identify how do I identify with some of these different varying styles, and what then do you recommend as an alternative? So stay tuned. If you're intrigued, if you're piqued interest, I hope that you stay committed to the conversation because we're going to go in some great places. I do want to ask a question to the audience and then also to you of, you know, for me, I'll say that body shaming can come in a lot of different experiences and a lot of different sizes and shapes. And no matter where you are on the spectrum of size, how high, how tall you are, or how short you are, or where you are, that there will always be, or that there could potentially be some opportunities for somebody to feel shame. Has anybody in the audience, put it
Mm-hmm.
in the chat, let us know, has anybody ever experienced body shaming? Maybe directly, indirectly, maybe it's a backhanded comment where, they didn't mean any harm, but they didn't mean any good either. Um, Tell us about your experiences in the chat and let us know about any body shaming. Have you had a body shaming experience? Let us know um, in the chat. But Jada, while they're answering that question for you, um, tell us about when was the first time that you even became aware of your body, or what was that like, that journey for you? And when did that start for you?
I would say I started actually developing. I started going through puberty around 9. And I want to say by the time I was 11 years old, I was pretty much fully developed. I was already 5'2". I was wearing bras. I ain't look the same as the other fifth graders. I'm gonna say that in a lot of ways. And it started to be kind of like, and my mom noticed it too. And she would say, like, this year, I don't know if it's a good idea that you wear a 2-piece bathing suit to the family get together. Maybe you should stick with a 1-piece. And in my mind, I was like, well, what's different? I've been wearing this stuff. Or she would say, maybe we should add a little bit more coverage in certain places. And, she would kind of allude to like, you look a little bit older than a lot of girls her age. And she, of course, it wasn't, you know, in a negative way, but she was kind of making me aware that there are certain things that you got away with wearing because you have nothing and now you got it. So, we don't want to draw the wrong type of attention. And that's when I started to notice like, oh, I I might got a little going on. Like I might got it going on a little bit. And I actually liked it. Like I didn't necessarily liked it when I got attention for it. Not necessarily in that way, but more of like, oh, does that mean that there's a part of me that's a little bit desirable? Like, you know, do I have like what that hourglass shape that I would see in the music videos? What I got going on, right? I got a little booty going on. You be in the mirror with your tank top kind of pulling it low and doing like this so you can see the the cleavage because I was feeling myself a little bit, and I was around the age where I started to realize like, oh, you actually have a body that people can pay attention to.
I love that. I love that you were confident as a kid where some people may have felt awkward, and if you were the kid that felt a little awkward, that's okay. But for you, you were like, "Hey, I got it going on cuz mama telling me to cover up some things." Okay. So let's continue on with the conversation. So then when did anything shift for you where you started to feel differently about your body type or, just about noticing things about you?
I started. Okay, so again, there was I wasn't 100% confident, right? So there was the whole I'm confident, like I love this, I love the way I look in a bathing suit. And then on the other end, when I got around other girls who were my age who still hadn't blossomed yet, there was a little bit of attention drawn to me in that way. So it was like, if I remember specifically, I had a uniform shirt and I had on this little sports bra and it had a number 3 on it. None of the other girls had to wear anything under their shirt yet because they didn't really have anything. And so the other girls would be like, what's going on with the number 3 on your shirt? You know what I mean? Like it was just like, oh no. So I would try to go without the bra. And then someone would say that they could see everything. And it was just like, ugh. But then once that began to take hold and I started to really develop like a woman's body, I want to say I was 11 or 12 years old and I had the body of a 16, 17-year-old.
Okay.
And I remember hearing from older women in my family kind of certain comments like, all right, you look good now, but you better watch what you eat. Like you know what I mean? Like you better stop, getting seconds at the table. It was like, oh, we know Jada can eat, she better watch it, or it was like, you want to be big, you know what I mean? Like, how would you feel if I don't know. And that went on all the way into my young adolescence, even early 20s. You would hear certain women say, like, um, if I had a boyfriend, don't get fat. Right. It was like, how would you feel if you got with a guy and he lost his job? And I'll be thinking, well, how's that the same thing? They're like, they got with you when you were a size 4. You can't look up 2 years later and be a size 14. You tricking them. Like you would hear certain things that a lot of older people would say and have a lot to do with how my body should look and how I should maintain how I look, because that's where my beauty is.
Mhm.
And that's when I started to associate a little bit of anxiety around my body.
So it's interesting how body shaming, and put it in the chat for those that are just joining us. Thank you for joining as a part of our sisters, our Restore Her Retreat series. Today, we're talking about Restore Her Style, identifying body positivity and confidence, and embracing the uniqueness of your individuality and your style. And what is that style? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But as we delve into this body shaming and, this transitions and the twists and turns, I want you to consider your own stories and how this is possibly resonating for you and what may be different for your story. I'd love to hear you put it in the chat and let us know. We'll share some of those stories as we go through tonight. So, and if you also have questions for Jada as we continue on, feel free to put that in the chat and we will share those as well. So, as we continue on in the conversation, I appreciate those that are also signing the contract and identifying this as a safe space, so that we can continue on to be supportive and uplift and exhort and encourage and inspire each other. So, Jada, so you started talking about how, um, your body shame experience wasn't necessarily intrinsic, or it wasn't something that you chose. It was something based on what other people were saying about you that made you start to question yourself.
Yes.
And so, what did that lead to for you, or what did the insecurities show up as a result of that? By what people perceived you as, or comments that were made, or maybe even looks at certain points where you're like, what are you looking at?
Mhm.
Um, can anybody else in the audience identify with that, where you may have felt like, what is going why are you looking at me? Like, so tell me about what that was like
Yeah.
for you in terms of navigating that anxiety that started to build, or some of those negative feelings that you may have had.
Okay. I will say that paying attention to my body and in that way kind of caused me to pay attention to what more about what people were saying to and about me and my body. And I want to take it even a little deeper because I think as I got older, it kind of shifted away from my weight and more into um other things. So as you I have very dramatic features. So let me go ahead and say it. I have very big eyes. And kids can be extremely cruel. They can be so cruel about you having something that other kids don't have. And so it was weird because I don't recall being a very young child with people making fun of that. I remember the comments started around middle to late middle school. And I would be around kids and people would make jokes, or someone would say, like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking like that? Why you look scared?" And something I just realized that over time, like, you just have really expressive eyes. Like, I like to make the joke of like, I could sit up here and say, no, I'm not scared. And my eyes are like, like, right. My eyes will tell what I'm thinking every time. And people were not very nice about it. And so I think what I started to do, and even into adulthood, I will say honestly, my most recent encounter with someone, coming at me like a whole toddler, because I thought only toddlers did that, right? Um, was I want to say a few months ago. It would be you're going into a new space, and I became kind of a shell. I've always been very outgoing, very extroverted, and it would turn into me going into new places and having a lot of social anxiety because I didn't want someone to make a comment about my eyes. And you could even see it, the more insecure or certain type of people you were around, the more likely people are going to draw attention to that to take the pressure off of them. So I would go around new people, especially around boys, and then of course later in life men, and just kind of already have this like look on my face like I was tired, like I would just kind of do this. And that's kind of where I want to say, I think there's a correlation. I didn't know this at the time of when my fashion began to take off. Because I was like, if I can distract you away from my face, please don't look at my face. Like,
Mm.
if you're gonna give me attention, it needs to be good. So I need you to say something about my shoes. I need you to say something about my hats, my skirts, my dresses, the way I put things together. I didn't want people to look at my features because for some reason, grown people turned into whole 5-year olds when they saw you. And that was the thing about body shame. It's not always about someone saying negative. It's about sometimes neutral comments, right? If someone just walk up to you and say, "Why your eyes so big?" They didn't necessarily insult you, but they didn't give you a compliment either. And if it's embarrassing, there's no other way to associate it than negatively. And so, yeah, I try to distract people away from my facial features using my clothing, basically.
And so it's interesting how fashion is, you use fashion to essentially, like you said, hide or to distract. And so
Hmm.
it wasn't just something to enhance, it was really something you use as a, like a filter tool so that people wouldn't, you could hide behind some of the things that were starting to become build as an insecurity for you.
Hmm.
So I want to talk about this, and I have a few people in the audience that are saying a few things that are helpful. For instance, Melinda is like, I experienced monitoring of what I ate too. She said people would say I'm not eating enough and I need to eat more, even when I wasn't hungry. Right.
Mm.
And for those of us, and it's interesting how this body shame can go in a lot of different directions. A lot of the times, I think we only consider it when somebody may be, more fleshy, as you like to, to coin it, or just have a little bit more to love, that those are the, sometimes we think about that and we think that the skinny people have it good. And the reality is, and even for myself as being thinner, is that it was always conversations about what I was eating. And I don't understand why that was ever even on somebody's mind to consider to say to me, because I don't say anything about what you're eating on your plate. Why would you
Right.
come up to me and just assume you don't know anything about my eating habits? If I even, God forbid, but even if I had some sort of, disorder,
Or like a health.
concerning, yeah, her health concern or anything like that. So I just think, this conversation is helping to bring awareness to, let's be more sensitive to people in their sizes, no matter what size they are. And let's stop making blanket and blind and honestly ignorant comments about people's size, their weight, their shape. Let's just agree to stop that. All right. I had so many people, and typically the people that would be commenting for me about my weight, and I see Gloria, she said she was made to feel like she was too small at one time, and it made her feel insecure.
Mhm.
And so, why are we commenting on what somebody else looks like without it? I could see if I asked you, say, hey, excuse me, what do you think about my size? Like,
Right.
do you have a perspective
Right.
about how, my
That's why
body
I'm
is
asking
made?
you.
Can you share? And then if they offer up that perspective, then cool. But then if not, then why don't we have anything? You don't have anything else to talk about besides, and it's always
The
like,
way someone looks.
again, and we discovered this in our conversation in our prep time, but they didn't mean no harm, but they didn't
Right.
mean any good either.
That wasn't a compliment either. So now
It
I'm just
wasn't a
thinking about the way I look.
compliment. Why are we talking about it?
Right.
Right. So I just wanted to highlight that no matter where you are on the spectrum, you're not there. No one's safe in in the world of commentary from people. And so then how do you deal with it? Right. So let's talk a little bit about how you deal with it. And this is okay. I want to just share this point because I want us to acknowledge that body shaming is so prevalent and so common. I just had a conversation from, hey, melanated Christian. She just said, I was called match body, fake butt. I despise big booty Judy, but I just laugh. And so, shout out to all of our beautiful women who are of all shapes and sizes, who have all the curves and who have all the endowments and who have a little bit extra to hold on to and love on. I love it and celebrating you for all that you are. And yeah, all of these coined phrases, big booty Judy. I know people who felt like they needed to cover up um, certain parts because they didn't want to even get up to walk through a crowd because they
Hmm.
didn't want the eyes on them. All of these things that we've perpetuated. So let's continue. So you talked about how, you've experienced people that made comments about your eyes and things like that. And so um what was a pivotal moment for you where you're like, okay, I need to shift, or what changed for you in your progression of body positivity? Like, how did this become better? How did you get through that? Or how are you working through that?
Okay. I like the word working through.
Okay.
Um,
Let's highlight that. It's not a destination, it's a journey.
it's a
Okay.
whole journey. And I
Okay.
think the older I get, the more I'm accepting of it. And I think so. Ooh, so a scripture that was really inflammatory. You think it's supposed to be the balm of Gilead. This actually caused inflammation. Um, was that you were fearfully and wonderfully made? Because in my mind, I don't know. I was like, okay, then why everybody making fun of the way I look? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's so wonderful, like, why is everyone making fun of it, right? That
Mhm.
or it was it was like, people don't treat me like I'm fearfully. People treat me like I'm more fearfully than wonderfully made. I've had people make comments like, "Your eyes scare people," or people I didn't even know. Not even people you would walk into a store and the ladies be like, "Why you look like that? You scare me." Like, ugh. And it, like you said, it makes you not want to walk in front of new people. And so I think over time, I really just began to accept that's really just what you look like. Like there's this acceptance level of there's nothing wrong with the way you look. Again, every doctor I go to or have gone to is like, have you been tested for Graves' disease? And you're like, yes, my thyroid is normal. I just look like this.
Okay.
Thank you. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, they're beautiful. Okay, well, you can keep that too. So I will say this on my best days. So it's a journey, right? On my best days, and I think the older I get, the more good days I have than bad days. I'm able to really shrug those comments or turn those neutral comments into positive comments,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
That whole, oh, what big eyes you have, the better to see you with, my child. Like,
Mhm.
like what you mean? Which is really ironic because my prescription and my glasses are very high. Um, but, and on my worst days, some days you forgot to pray, and you try not to forget to pray, or Satan is subtle and he comes up on a day where you're already not feeling good, right? And I think those are the days where you really have to use those tools that I've gained over the years through therapy, through prayer, through everything of like, no, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know what I mean? Like, you don't look like anyone else. You don't need to look like that person. You only need to look like you, not two of who you think you should look like.
Mhm.
um and just really resting in those affirmations. Those are when I really need that.
So I just want to take a pause here because you're talking about prayer, and we did not lead in this session with prayer. And I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge God for all that He is doing, and that He would guide the rest of this conversation. And so, if we could just have our heads bowed for those that are listening in or watching the replay, if you could just touch and connect with us at this moment. Dear God, we just thank and praise you for today. We ask that you will be present on today's call and that you would get the glory for all of this wonderful testimony that we are sharing, this connection and this community that that you are allowing us to establish, and that you would just move like never before. We thank you for this time together, and we ask that somebody would be touched and even begin their journey of transformation as they renew their style and their confidence, knowing that it's rooted in you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So, um, it's interesting because you're not alone, Jada. I see here that, hey, Shy Songbird 28, she says, yes, that scripture haunts me.
Mm,
And so you're not alone in being challenged with accepting that God made you with no mistakes.
right.
How profound is that we are challenged. And so I call them, over the years I called them my Victoria's Secrets, right? So little elements of my body that I'm more able to cover up, but there may be things about me that I'm like, I don't want you to quite see what's going on here or there, or anywhere, right? And so, but God did make no mistakes when He made each of us, and that we're beautiful in our own rights. And how boring it would be if we were all the same. So
Hmm.
let's talk about it's all good. Stuff happens, right? And so again, safe space. So if we trip, we fall, we do whatever, our phone, hey, it's whatever. We just keep it rolling. So listen, tell me about a time where the media and pop culture played a role into how you viewed yourself and how you viewed your body.
Okay. Um,
And
Sorry.
then we're going to get into this system because you talked about how you didn't like the fruit. And so we want to get into talking about, for those that don't know, and you're just joining us, thank you for being a part of the Restore Her series. We're talking about Restore Her Style. We're just talking a little bit about body positivity and body shame and how we navigated that. Jada shared a little bit about some of her story. We're going to dig into this Kibbe system. I had never even heard of it before, but it's enlightening. So if you have not heard about it, you want to know about how to get your stuff together. All right. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about pop culture and how did that play a role. And I know that things were starting to shift for you, and you were looking at some things that were happening in the media maybe at this time. What were some of the influences, and how were what was going on for you in that season?
Okay. um, yeah, I think even more so, right? So on top of that, when Oh, okay. Pop culture, makeup. And I think something I struggled with up until very recently, and I don't say even to this day, is how, and again, I'm talking about like my insecurities, right? So my eyes, again, you didn't see a lot of women with big eyes in the media. And if you did, they wasn't my kind of big. They was like slightly a little bit more open, but to have big round eyes was not something that they portrayed. It's kind of like every time they, and I don't want to say this because I do love her, but like anytime there's a black woman, they're like Zendaya. It's like, all right, well, we don't all look like that. Or when you look at like eyeliner looks, they're for almond shaped eyes or hooded eyes. And then when they do one, they call it, first of all, they use the word protruding eyes, which and even then it's still not a lot of makeup looks out there or things like that. That was another thing. I think I struggled with a lot of things. I think at this point, right, in my life, when I'm really noticing media, I'm having trouble maintaining my weight, right? I got turbo jam, I got Tybo going on in the back in middle and high school. Like I'm like
You
in
were
my room
you
doing
were
all this.
doing Tybo in high school? Who remembers Tybo? Put it in the chat. Do
More
you
like
remember Tybo?
more like elementary because
Okay.
it's a whole thing. But yes,
Okay.
I'm over here doing Tybo. I'm like taking it double time in my room. I'm doing like the, what is it, turbo
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like measuring my way. So I'm looking at my body.
Really?
People are now making comments about my eyes. And now we got the natural hair movement.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So I decided to go natural at some point in late high school. And now you got the wrong type of natural hair.
Mm.
So it's turning into this snowball effect of you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And then on top of that, don't nobody notice your outfits? No way. So so I'm just I'm really spiraling at this point. Like I'm really good at pretending like I have confidence, but at the end of the day, I don't see it. When people call me beautiful, I don't see it. When people say you are fearfully and wonderfully made, I want to throw them the finger. I all this good stuff. Um and I'm really just struggling with the way that I look, and looking at the media, and none of these girls look like me, right? So they are super voluptuous. What in all Lil Wayne songs is a thick red bone. I ain't no thick red bone. I don't. I have 4C hair. I have large eyes. I don't look like these girls.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I'm in theater and music. And when I get off stage, people are like, that sounded really good. But like, why was you looking like that? Dang it. Right. Someone's like Tybo, yes. um, yeah, and so oh my gosh, Billy Blanks and my dad grew up together. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Um,
So, so I know that in the media too, and around this time, so in the early 2000s or 2010s, whenever this was for you, that we saw a lot of things happening in pop culture. We started to see the more voluptuous, curvy. This is at the beginning of the height of where they started seeing a lot of the early butt injections that weren't just transferred fat. It was like, Nicki Minaj's first butt was like, I think she had like whatever those fillers were, those people were putting implants into their butt. So we had this focus on everybody needed to have the same exact shape, which is not even biologically sound.
don't
Why is everyone trying to have the exact
don't get me
same shape?
started.
Everybody wants to have the same hair texture,
Yep.
the same eye shape, the same length of hair, right? Because everybody wants to have the certain length, the certain, everything has to be exactly the same. But that is not how God made us, because we all have our individual fingerprints. So if we all have individual fingerprints, why do we think that we're gonna all fit into this one prototype where we're gonna have like the booty for days, the chest, at whatever range of proportion is, and it's gonna have to match, and all of this stuff. So we saw this through, like your Nicki Minaj's, the Kardashians, and no shout, this is not a to pin or to point fingers at them,
Right.
but these are examples of what was being showcased in the media that was influencing our style
Right.
and influencing our culture and influencing the way that we viewed ourselves and our bodies. And then to your point, what we also saw in media, on magazines, billboards, even to this day. I recently read some report that was saying for some parts of Africa, they were like, we're no longer accepting models that don't look like the people that are from here. I
Yeah.
can't remember what country it was, but they were like, we're no longer doing that. So what we're gonna do is no thank you to the Caucasian, or the other, because it could have been anybody, but we're gonna take natural beauty that looks dark, that has the 4C or whatever the styles are. Let's represent who we really are and not who you want us to be.
Right.
And so I think it's about understanding the balance between how God says be in the world, but not of this world. We have to understand that too, as it relates to our beauty standards, that we understand that this world may be dictating another standard of beauty. It's beginning to shift. We're
Yeah.
seeing newer trends. We're seeing models that are varied in a lot of different ways. But once upon a time, it wasn't that way, and that still pervades through things. But we have to understand that God is dictating something different. Because did he make a mistake? Because last time I checked, God didn't make any mistakes. So did he
Right.
make a mistake on you, sis, in the audience? Did he make a mistake on you?
He
Because
didn't.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And not only do I not think so, I know so that he did not make a mistake on you. And so what we have to do is reaffirm that. So were there some strategies for you in terms of reaffirming your how beautiful you are? Or you talked about this journey. So what are some of the things along your journey that have been helpful for you to redefine that for yourself?
So in order to tell you what helped or what's helping me on my journey, I think it's best to put context to the lowest part of my journey.
Mm, let's go
Um,
there. Let's go
let's
there.
go there. So, a few years ago, I was sexually assaulted,
Mm,
and that was the I don't know if you ever seen that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob went to rock bottom, like, and nobody could understand what he was saying. That's kind of what it was like. Yeah, I had an ex-boyfriend, and yeah, he 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 raped me.
wow.
That's a very strong word, and I'm sorry if I didn't provide a trigger warning. But and that's really hard to say, right?
Yeah.
That was a really low moment for me. And shortly after that I, really realized that it started getting help, I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Mm,
So there's a whole nother level now of body shaming that comes with that, and having a new relationship with my body, which
mm,
is, not only do I not look good enough, not only do my eyes scare people, not only am I set apart because of these things, now my body is worth nothing. Thanks.
mm,
Right.
mm,
And so now we got a whole new set of scriptures that I don't fool with. And one of them was, the Lord shall fight for you and you shall hold your peace. Well, then where was he that day? In that moment, when I heard that for the first time, after I really let it sink in what had happened to me, I thought to myself, my body's not worth protecting. Hold what peace? I don't have any peace. Right? Not that God can protect me, he just for some reason didn't want to. Maybe I'm just not that special. Maybe I'm just not worth it.
mm,
And what made it even more complicated was that, me and this man had mutual friends who he never even attempted to do that to. So now we have actual evidence that you are worth less than other women. You see, there's a reason why people say these negative things to you. You're worth nothing. Look at you, you're nothing. And so now I'm in this space where I'm scared of everyone. Apparently, everyone is scared of me because my eyes are huge. And I'm a whole stranger in my own body. And body shaming became a new thing for me. It became how people talked about survivors when around me when they didn't know I was one. Why would you let that happen to you? Why would any girl allow a man, if that was me, I would have did X, right? Not knowing that I was that girl who couldn't do X, right? Not because I didn't want to. So now something else is wrong with my body. I don't know how to fight for my body. I I don't see the worth in it, right? I'm in this space where I don't see the point. I'm breaking many commandments, and one of them is covet, right? I'm not in a good place. I think something's wrong with me. I feel that darkness in me. And some of the things I've done to really heal from that is prayer, really tacking on to those scriptures that I didn't want to hear
Mm.
because they were completely dissonant to everything I had been through. You couldn't explain to me that God wanted to protect me. You couldn't explain that to me. I said, yeah, because I had to, because I called myself a servant, but I didn't really believe that. And I think as I began to come out of that tunnel, I started to realize that there is so much mercy in in the rebellion in my heart towards God in that moment. I was angry with him. I had problems. We had beef, right? I served him. I kept the commandments. I prayed, but I was angry. I didn't understand why he let that happen.
So I want to pause there because that is you shared quite a bit that I want to just process a little bit for those who are listening and for somebody who this may have been a trigger warning, triggering for you. I pray that you're able to say on the call, on our live, and that because there's more to come in this story and I hope that this is the beginning for those that are listening. And for you, Jada, I just want to celebrate you in your journey to sharing something that is so profound and such a um, pivotal moment in your life that is earth shattering. And I'm sorry that that happened to you. Um, and I thank you for your vulnerability and your willingness to share that on today. I don't take that for granted. And for those that are in the audience that are also identifying, whether or not you identify in the comments or not, we see you, we hear you, and we are loving on you because you are matter. You do matter and you are important. Um, and Jada, I love the fact that you're willing to stand in. I'm not going to let that be um, the end of my journey. I'm not going to allow that to be the end of my process. That I am willing to continue on in this space to do something, um, to talk about it and to process it out loud. And thank you for using this platform to do so.
Thank you for allowing me to. That was, and to be honest, I said it very loud, but I had to. It was like because everything in me was like, be quiet, like don't say that, right? Um, so I think,
So
go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
So
I'm
what
so sorry.
Yeah, so what I want to say is, so let's talk about, I want to dig back through some of these raw moments and these raw feelings of, okay, so I am trying to process how I even style my body. How do I put clothes on this body? How do I value myself and my beauty? How do I celebrate all that I am? And then I feel like I keep getting knocked down. And Satan uses a lot of tactics to knock people down. And he uses a lot of different challenges. And then what happens is, as a result of these horrible, horrific, um, no reason why this should have ever happened to anyone, including yourself, it starts to make you question your value. It starts to make you even question God. Like, okay, God, where were you? If in fact this was something that you have all these scriptures about how you protect, and then why didn't you protect me? Those are real questions that I'm sure other people have asked, whether or not they're believers or not, and may have even stunted their growth in their faith walk or their belief because they questioned, God, where were you? Right. And so I love how your and I've even heard this from other survivors that I've had conversations with that are believers in Christ and did stand in the Word of God. That what they did was they found those same scriptures that Satan was trying to tell them, see, it's a lie. God don't love you. He's not going to protect you. To use those same scriptures to affirm that God does love me. And just because some man was evil or some woman, because it's not always men that are sexually assaulting other women, But that somebody was evil doesn't mean that God isn't still good.
Right.
Um, and so I want for those that are in the audience that may be listening to this is to don't allow Satan to take you away from the word of God, which is holy, which is true, which is right. And those words are still powerful, but it's going to take time for that to continue to resonate. And so you talked about how you were angry with God. How did you resolve that anger for yourself? And then we're going to then we're going to move on and talk about a few other things, but I want to hear from you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few things that shifted my perspective. And maybe, I don't know, but I'll tell you what shifted mine. um, I remember I was, because in my mind it was dissonance, right? It was like, I know I can't let go of God, but why did God let go of me
Mm,
for 2 seconds? Look what happened
mm,
when you let go of me for two
mm,
seconds, right?
mm, mm,
And in a way, again, there's a juxtaposition there, because okay, well, it sounds like I don't need to let go. I don't need to get away from him at all, because bad things happen when he's not around. Um, and I remember rereading the scripture, Jesus wept for the
mm,
first time again, and the context of that story. And the context of that story was that Jesus allowed Lazarus to die. And when he came back to raise Lazarus from the dead, any I want to say Mary and Martha both walked up to him and said, "Where were you?" They both said, "If you had been here, Lazarus would be alive." And I felt that, because I was like, yeah, that's exactly
how
how I
I feel.
feel.
Where were you,
Where
Jesus?
were you at? Like, what in the world? And he just cried. And it completely changed my perspective of God in that moment. I always looked at God as he is neutral. And if he allows things to happen, he could care less, get it together, and know that I'm God. And you shouldn't feel any way towards that because I allowed it to happen. No, he didn't want Lazarus to die either. Not that he couldn't have stopped it, but if you really read it, there was a lesson needed to be learned. It was for the good at the end of the story, right? But it let me know that when things happen to us, he's not just standing there unfeeling, uncaring. He sees that too, and he suffers with you. He has empathy. God has empathy.
Mm.
What? And so that
And tear
made me,
ducts.
and
And
tear
tear
ducts.
ducts. In
Not only
when he was in the
empathy,
flesh. Right.
right? He can feel that. He cried with her. He just
Yeah.
cried. He had nothing to say,
Yeah.
and it made me look at God completely different. And so, not that I just knew in that moment, oh, like all that anger was cured in me, but out of all of what I had just read, I have a new curiosity for who God is. Because why did this happen like this? What is the good gonna come of it? When does the Lazarus in my life come back from the grave?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What does that look like for me?
Mm-hmm.
And it also helped my guilt of having those questions for God, because Mary and Martha had those same questions for him,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't get
And
angry.
they walked with him. Like they knew him, they were acquainted with him, and they still had those same questions of God. Where were you?
Right. And that wasn't the end of their walk that day.
Yeah.
Just because they had that question, it doesn't mean they had to stop walking with him.
Or that they really didn't believe in God, or that they had to stop. Okay, because I have this question, I no longer can follow through with my faith. I
Yep.
need to go find something else because this isn't working out for me. No, it was okay for them to have that question.
Exactly. And so that is what I guess, kind of where that upturn started. Because in that moment, when I would have those questions, it was like, where do I fit into the body of Christ if I have questions for him? If I don't 100% buy into what they're telling me about him right now because of what's going on in my life, does that mean I don't fit here? Even though I want to, what does that mean for me? And so seeing that, and his response to it, he didn't rebuke her. He didn't get angry at her for questioning him. He cried with her, which lets me know that I'm not alone. He's crying with me. He feels the pain I feel right now. And so it just made me more curious. So at that moment, that that wasn't the day that my life was fixed, but it was the day where I began to take certain steps. And I've taken steps forward and got knocked five back. That happens sometimes. It's a grief cycle, but I think that's when I really began to open up and really began to go, I've got to heal. I've got to forgive those people that that were involved directly or indirectly. I've got to begin doing that. And even still, there were some pep talks even you've had with me, Dacia, where you were like, "No, you got to you're gonna have to let that go. You're gonna have to do this. Like, we're gonna have to pray about that, right?" I think also friends like you and were also helpful in that moment where I began to reach out. My therapist, getting closer to God, all of those things, daily affirmations. I now have like a 2-hour morning routine that picks me up out of this bed.
Come
you
on,
know,
morning
and
routine.
of like self-care. Like I was like, I really got to start showing up for myself because right now she's not okay. Um and it didn't always feel like it was working, but some days where you are triggered and you're able to talk yourself down and calm yourself down from that trigger, you look back and go, wow, I was completely different a year ago. And I started to realize like I'm not healed, but I'm healing, and that's okay.
So, for those that are watching, there is context to this conversation because Jada and I have had offline conversations for the last several years around this topic. And so, I'm really just honored and privileged to be able to walk alongside you in your journey of as a friend and as a sister in Christ. And I encourage others because we can be allies even if we did not necessarily directly experience what the other person experienced, we can still be an ally and a resource, and essentially to bring people back to the throne of God, where again, Satan may be trying to take them away from the throne of God and to push them into other areas, whether it be, different things to help to placate and to cover up a wound that we're trying to resist. And a part of that resistance, I just want to share that even for Jada and I, when we prepped for today's live, we had another moment where we were met with a little resistance. And I had to have a conversation with her. And I just shared that you have some options here. And I said, but honestly, what really works about this Restore Her live series is when people are really transparent and they fully show up and they commit to their full story, the undone parts, the parts that are still left to be figured out, the parts that don't quite fit in neatly into any one particular box. All of those parts of and elements of our stories, the hurtful parts, the parts that are unhealed, still that we're still working through, they were still figuring out the parts that we still have questions about, right? That those parts are relevant and they matter and they're purposeful too. And I want to go back to that phrase that you mentioned a while ago in today's conversation, where you talked about enoughness and how you had all of these external factors from people and situations and comments and experiences that help to reiterate this lie, right? This lie, because we know that God can't lie. So who is the
Right.
author of lies? It's Satan. And this
Exactly.
lie that continues to permeate for most of us, I won't say exactly all, but I would say 99% of us, of this enoughness. Am I enough? Is my body enough? And do I have enough of this, feature? Do I have enough of that feature? Is my hair enough? Or, whatever it is, or am I just valuable to God? And how do I see that value when I look in the mirror? All of these things are happening for a lot of women and also men too. And shout out to our men. I love our men so dearly. I'm a
Mhm.
daddy's girl by heart. So the Lord has committed me to our women and to help our sisters, but trust and believe, I am a daddy's girl. I love the men in my life, my husband. Shout out to my husband. And I thank him for all that he's been doing to help me to have this platform. It wouldn't be possible without my head. And so I just want to honor him in this moment. But I just wanted to say that we go through these phases of questioning who God is in our lives. And what I just want to reiterate for anybody who's listening is don't allow for Satan to come in. You have to fight. And even for Jada and I, we hit a kind of a rock bottom moment earlier this week through the conversation of prepping for this call. And Jada, I don't know if there's anything you want to share on that, but it got to the point where I was like, okay, maybe we don't need to have the live right now because I don't know what just happened, but we had a breakdown. And but I want to share that so you guys understand that this is not about perfectionism. It doesn't always come together perfectly, and it's not going to always be like neat and pretty. Right. Sometimes it gets real ugly and it gets real. And we had to sit as sisters in Christ. Jada and I had to work through it together when we sat and we're like, okay, because I could have got on the phone like that was really weird and awkward, and I don't know what was going on, but I gotta go, girl. But we sat in it and I was like, hey, I feel like it's uncomfortable right now. And she's like, yeah, I feel. So I'll pause there and let you finish that conversation.
No, yeah, that's exactly how I felt. And on the inside, I was like, come on, Jada, like you cooperate. But like my ego was like, look, if you buck. Like it was like, no, because I knew that with what I had just shared, I already knew that I probably needed to share that. I did not want to. I didn't think I could. I was afraid that the people who don't know were going to find out. And I remember walking away from that conversation being like, she's not going to let me do that live. And if I got to tell that, then great. I'm not doing it live. I'm not doing it. And even then there was a part of guilt where it was like, my story is not perfect. So I'm not worthy to do the live. Right. They don't, you know what I mean? Like the type of person that needs to do what you do has to have it all together and you don't. So like you can just hang it up. And I remember the next day I was like, no, I need to get on this live and I need to say what it is. I need to say where I'm at and why I'm there. Mm-hmm. And that was when I texted you at like, 11 o'clock at night. Okay. All right. We need a tripod.
Yeah, it's fine. Next time.
Yep. That's when I texted you at 11 o'clock at night. Was like, I think I'm going to tell my story, like the real story. And it's like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Do it. Let's commit to it. So let's transition. Okay. Thank you, Jada. I wanted to leave some real space for that. And I didn't want to just be like, okay, thanks, and keep it moving. Right. So I would just want to thank everybody who's rocking with me, who's still on the live. If you are, put something in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. We just want to show you some love. Thank you for being a part of today's conversation. I hope you're getting something out of it as we continue on in the Restore Her series. Today, we're talking about Restore Her Style. So let's get into, as we find out some things. And if you have some questions for Jada as we carry on, you have some slides for us. So I want us to talk a little bit about this fashion. So we talked about, and I love this conversation. We'll continue it actually at the conference. At the retreat. We'll go ahead and continue it at the retreat because Jada is going to be one of our featured speakers, and she's going to continue her conversation around styling and best practices and things like that. So let's get into it. We're trashing, for those that don't know, FYI. You can put some fruit in the comments because we're getting rid of the fruit. Okay, this is the last time we're going to be talking about fruit. We don't need no more pears and apples and oranges and berries. We don't need no more bananas. We don't need no more watermelon. Dragon fruit, you name it, we ain't got it no more. Cherries, whatever. We're not going to compare ourselves to like fruit.
Inanimate objects.
Inanimate objects. I'm not a burger. I'm not fries, and I'm not a watermelon. Okay. We're not doing that no more. That's done. Okay. So tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody that you don't have to compare yourself to a refrigerator or nothing else. All right.
The only fruit you need is the fruit of the spirit. Okay.
Right. That's the only fruit. That's the only fruit that we are checking for. Okay. So let's talk about this. I'm going to pull up some slides.
Okay.
Here that we're going to add to the stream. But so tell me a little bit as I pull this up for you. So let me solve this out. As I'm pulling this up, tell me a little bit about what the heck is this Kibbe system? Why are we getting rid of the fruit? I love it. The emojis, the fruit emojis in the trash are coming in. Put them fruit emojis in the trash, like, right? Let's put them in.
Put the fruit up. Get rid of it.
So let's find out what's going on with this Kibbe system.
Okay. So I actually recently found the Kibbe system this year. So shout out to my girl, Jada Zhane, Body and Style. She's in the UK and she just came up with my TikTok FYP one day talking about, and I've always loved putting things in categories. Like when I was little, my favorite game was Perfection, like putting them little shapes in there before the timer was up. Um, so I love that. So she was talking about, body shape and clothing recommendations for that body shape and why it works. And I was like, hmm? So I started looking at her stuff and I was like, there is a science to fashion. And what? So I'm really into it, right? And that was actually something part of my journey as well that tacks onto this is again, me wearing like super quirky things to draw attention away from my eyes. As I'm identifying my ID, my like body typing ID, I found out that my body type is defined by contrast, and wearing quirky things only complements dramatic features. So I actually wasn't hiding anything. I was actually harmonizing with it in a way. But what that let me know is one, what you've been doing hasn't been working, and that's why you're still getting those comments. And two, no matter how unhealthy, you actually knew what you were doing. Like you've been doing that since you were in high school, and you've been doing what this person is saying to do for a long time. You might actually know what you're doing for real. And so I got into it. So a little bit about the Kibbe system is that it's been around for at least 30 years.
Wow.
Almost 40 years. It was developed in the 1980s. And so by Michael David Kibbe. And so to get away from the fruit system, he started taking into account women's bone structures and the way that their flesh falls on their bone structure. And their height, all of these things outside of just their shape. And it goes on a spectrum of yin versus yang. So yang is sharp, angular, and dark and vertical. So if you look at the pictures I have here for yang, look at that and think about what it's like to fall into that. It's gonna hurt, right? And yin is soft, rounded, light, petite, and short. And so when I say dark and light, I don't mean skin tone. It's more about what fabrics you should probably wear to honor yin or yang. So yang fabrics are going to be darker fabrics and yin fabrics are going to be the lighter fabrics. So yes. And you can, yes. So again, as far as the spectrum of yin and yang, as far as body types go, the most yin is what they call a romantic. And on over here under yin, you see her, Gabby Wilson from Her. She is actually been typed by Kibbe as a romantic. And if you see her, she is very short, she's petite, but she's also fleshy. You can see that and when I say fleshy and soft, I don't mean weight. The Kibbe system has nothing to do with your weight. No matter how much weight you gain, you will still be your Kibbe ID. So if you look at her over here on the left, or whatever left, Gabby Wilson, her, she is short and petite, and she's not overweight, but she's still very soft. Like you can see it in her chest, how soft her flesh is. And she has very small bones. And on over here under yang, you have Zendaya, which she's extremely tall, she's elongated, she is sharp, she's sinewy, she's narrow, and that is called a dramatic, which is the most yang type. So if you can go to the next one. So I wanted to compare the fruit system versus the Kibbe system. And if you can see here, the fruit system is what we're used to, like the apple, pear, hourglass, triangle, square. And over here, you have the Kibbe body types, which you can see there are, I want to say, originally there were 13. I think we're down to 10 in total. Yeah, there are 10 body types. And they're so much more specific. And they have specified like actual categories that you fit into, and they're a little bit more subtle and a little bit more accurate. So if you can go to the next one. So why not the fruit system? So if you look over here, you have Tyra Banks and you have her. According to the fruit system, they would type both of them as an hourglass and leave it at that, and give them clothing recommendations for hourglass, leave it at that. But if you look at the Kibbe system and how subtle it is, they're both considered quote unquote hourglasses, but they're actually on two opposite ends of the yin yang balance. Her is 100% yin, which is a romantic, and Tyra Banks is a soft dramatic, which is almost 100% yang. Tyra Banks is taller, her skin is more taut, she's a lot less soft. She does have some softness, but not as much as her. She has large bones, she has sharp bones, she has prominent bones, and therefore their clothing recommendations are completely different, according to the Kibbe system, and it's more in harmony with their sharpness and softness. Do you have any questions so far? Or do we have any?
So I just want to highlight some of the things that you've already identified, and then please start putting your questions in the chat as they're coming up. I know that this is new And it may
Yes.
be new for you, and it may be your first time even hearing about the Kibbe system, right? But for those who are just catching on, that we're trashing the fruit system because it's so limiting.
Yes.
When we go back to this slide, I just want to go back real quick. How we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classifications for fruit. And again, we talked about individuality when we first started this live. We talked about how God has given us all an individual fingerprint, that we're all different. We come in different shapes and sizes and styles. So why would we even begin to try to limit ourselves to like 5 different categories? And then you can see over here, it's way more over here. It's 5, 7, 10. 10
Mm-hmm.
options here for the Kibbe body types, right? And so I love this, that we can celebrate the individuality of all of these different body types, to say, hey, I don't have to just fit into just 2 or 3 different settings. Like I'm more vast than that. And I love how you even highlight for Tyra and her. I didn't know her real name until you just introduced me to her real name. But Gabby is her name.
Gabby Wilson.
Gabby,
Yes.
Gabby Wilson. Of course, they're not wearing the same thing. She's, tall, and Gabby is really short, and so I'm sure others can identify that. Yeah, they may be softer, but they're shorter. So I can't. It doesn't even look the same on me that it would on you because you're taller, and even for me and some of my family members, it would be the same thing. We wear a similar size,
Mm-hmm.
but the clothes, we would try to share clothes, and the clothes are not fitting us the same. So it would look
Exactly.
really cute on her, but on me, it's like, take that off. But it is, in fact, we're both wearing a 4.
Right.
We're both wearing a 4, but the 4s are different 4s. So
Exactly.
anyway, continue.
No, you're absolutely right. And so, exactly. And so it comes down to what pieces you can wear. And if you look over on the other side, you have Sierra and Michelle Obama in a similar coat. And look at how different that coat looks on the two of them. So Sierra is dramatic, which is the most yang type, but they're defined by their narrowness. They're long, they're sinewy, they're sharp, and they're narrow. Keep that in mind. Michelle Obama would be typed as a flamboyant natural, which is they are also elongated, but they are wide. They're defined by their width. So if you put a similar coat on the two of these women who are similar in height and close to each other on the yin yang spectrum, they still can't even wear the same things because of how they're defined according to the Kibbe system. So if you looked at both of these women, one would be just a triangle, one would just be a square. But because they're both skinny, just put them in something similar because they're skinny. That's fine. But like if you look at how their width defines them, that coat actually looks kind of sloppy on Sierra, but it looks so womanly and so elegant on Michelle Obama. And that's definitely the subtlety of the Kibbe system. It's a little bit more about your frame than it is about your weight and your shape.
And can I just say that, when I don't know about you guys, but I remember she wore that burgundy outfit at the inauguration for Biden. And when she came out
Mm-hmm.
holding Barack's hand,
Yep.
strutting her stuff with that burgundy outfit on, it felt like Dr. Dre, the 2000 Chronic beat just started, da, 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 right? It's just like that just dropped. Like she came out and the mic dropped. I was like, girl, Michelle Obama don't kill it like she
Right.
ain't never killed it before. And can we just highlight for the fact that she killed it and she was completely covered?
Yep.
Hello. We're not gonna touch on modesty today because
Yeah,
that's
we're
gonna
not
be
there yet.
that's a whole nother conversation. But I just want to highlight that the sisters, so for our sisters who are looking for sexiness, and I'm not saying not to be sexy, but Michelle killed it, and you couldn't see not one. You can't even see her dang on face. She got, if you blow this up, she has a mask on. You can't even
Mm-hmm.
see half her face, and she is killing the game.
Yep.
Okay, literally from head to toe, and she's covered from the neck all the way down. You don't see no skin, but she is killing it out here. All right, I just wanted to highlight that. Let's just
Absolutely.
let's just
Absolutely.
know let's know what a real serve looks like. Okay, and
Exactly.
it has nothing to, you can eat and not have to have any flesh showing. Let's just be clear. Okay.
Exactly. And
Um,
something else I love about the Kibbe system, as opposed to the fruit system is very caught up on what's desirable and what you cannot wear. The Kibbe system never actually tells you you can't wear something. It just tells you that
freedom,
right, there's freedom.
freedom.
So even
We're
with
not
Sierra,
limited.
even though Sierra's not as elegant as Michelle Obama in this coat, if the vibe she was trying to go for was deconstructed, and sometimes we want to look a little disheveled, to look a little bit edgy or whatever, then that coat is perfect. She needs to know that that's what she needs to wear to look like that. So it's more about what effect you want to create when you consider your body type and not what you should be covering up.
Mm, mm. Okay. So let's continue on because this is getting real good. So let's talk about this. What do we got here?
Okay, so I showed you guys the most yin, I showed you guys the most yang, and these two types that we have here, we have Danae Benton over here in the white, very minimal dress over here in that green, and then on the other side, I guess my right, I don't know if it's your left, but it's my right, we have Janelle Monáe. So these two are the type of body types that have both yin and yang at the same time, but in different ways. So Danae Benton over here in the green, she is considered a soft classic, which is a blended type of yin and yang. So I want you to picture a fruit bowl and a fruit smoothie. So so Danae Benton is the fruit smoothie. She has blended yin and yang features. And what does that mean? That means that she has a lot of moderation. She has both yin, she has both yang, but she has a lot of moderation. And if you even see in her outfit recommendations, when she wears something that's super overwhelming, she looks overwhelmed. I don't like this outfit on her. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I kind of
The
hate it.
green and white. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't like it
I
either.
don't like it.
Yeah.
But when you put something in something moderate and minimal, she shines in it because it honors her moderation of her body type, the blended
Mm,
features.
mm.
So what's blended about this dress is it's very minimal, right? But it's light colored, so it's yin, but it also has some sharpness in like the slit and certain
Even the
parts.
neckline, yeah, the
Hmm.
straps and the neckline, and even the split, the sharpness there.
Yes. So
Mhm.
it's an even it's almost an even blend of yin and yang. And of course, since she's soft, she's more yin leaning. So it's going to be yin dominant with some elements of sharpness, which really makes her shine in that. Even the length of her limbs looks different in this dress.
That's very true. That's very
And
true.
you can create illusions with your outfits. And so on the other side, we have Janelle Monáe, who is considered a soft gamine. Gamines also have a mixture of yin and yang, but in a different way. They're like a fruit bowl. So you have each different fruit next to each other, right?
Mhm.
And so gamines, which is where we'll get into my journey. I am also a soft gamine. We share body types,
Okay.
have definite yin and yang. So they may be all gamines are under 5'5", right?
Mhm.
But they still may have long limbs and look taller. So Janelle Monáe looks about average height, but she's only 5 foot. And she
I've seen her in person. By the way, if you ever get a chance to see Janelle Monáe in person, I was at a concert and she was standing like right in front of me, um, in the section. Don't laugh at me, Jada. But I was standing next to her, and I was staring at her, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but I was staring at her intently, but I didn't even realize I was staring at her because her in-person beauty is just so captivating. Like,
Mhm.
she is a stunning person in
Yes,
real life.
absolutely.
There are not many people that I was like, "Whoa, like, what in the world?" And then it got to the point because so she turned around. I guess she felt me staring at her, so she turned to look at me like, "Can I help you?"
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Because we're here for the Prince concert. Okay, got it." So anyway, that's just my quick Janelle Monáe story, but she's gorgeous in real life and in
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
Just FYI. And she's gorgeous in these photos. But continue. So then
Absolutely.
tell me about this beautiful but I unsightly thing that she has on in the black. I know she's black and white, but I'm not as much as a huge fan of this gingham looking curtain thing that she has on. What's going on there?
Okay, I actually like it. But
Okay.
that was the one I couldn't stop staring at for a
Okay.
reason.
Got it.
But again, it's the effect you want to create. So since she is a gamine, they look best in contrast because their body is contrasted. So they may have soft flesh but sharp bones. They may have, long bones but delicate bones, right? They have definite contrast in their frame. So if you look at her in something very minimal, she still looks very good. But I would be, and it's funny because even when I was looking through pictures of her, I actually kept scrolling past this and didn't realize it was her. She kind of just blends right on in. And so, but that gingham dress, I kept looking at it and I almost didn't post it, but I was like, I can't stop staring. Like, I was like, I love this. And because there's so much contrast in it. And even with gamines, they even look better with waist emphasis when you add a chunky belt because it breaks up their lines into two contrasted parts.
Okay.
And that's what Janelle Monáe is actually known for. She's known for those quirky things that are contrasted, that kind of catch your eye. And when she wears something kind of normal, you almost kind of walk past her. Because the quirky and the contrasted fits her body type, basically.
Got it. So for somebody who's trying to understand, let's continue on, and then we have some questions that came through. And if you do have additional questions, I saw somebody put in the chat, I feel like I need pen and paper. You might. And so the good news is you'll have this to refer back to. You can go back and rewatch this at a later time if you have questions or concerns. And the beauty is that Jada is one of the emerging fashion coaches that is really helping to melanate this world, because there aren't a lot of people who are talking about this for our skin complexion. So this is really, cutting edge information that you're getting. So please take your notes. Please
Absolutely.
ask your questions. And then Jada, for those that want to get in touch with you, for who are still hanging in there, where can they find you on social media, just real quick?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can find me at @_Jada Zhane. So that is JADAZHANE. And that is my personal Instagram. If you want my cosplay Instagram, it is at Sonura Cosplay, SANURA Cosplay. That is also my TikTok, where I do post a lot of these talks on the Kibbe system there. I also post it on my personal Instagram if you want to follow me on those spaces.
Awesome. So let's continue the conversation. We're almost wrapping up for those that are still hanging with us. It's been an amazing journey through this conversation of body positivity, navigating body shame, and things of that nature. And how do we incorporate even God, the conversation of God, in that? But let's talk about this. What's going on here?
So, what if you get your body type and your clothing recommendations and go, well, I don't like that? I'm about to show you what happens when you go against your line. So here we have, again, the most yang type, which is Zendaya, who is a dramatic, and the most yin type, which is Gabby Wilson, who is a romantic. So if you dress Zendaya in yang clothing, and yang does not necessarily mean that if you are a yang type, you look like a man. But in order to harmonize if you're yang dominant, sometimes you can draw on the masculine and it looks effortless. So something that Zendaya is known for are tuxedos. She's known for it, and people can't stop talking about it. She's like one of the only celebrities who can look at a dude in a suit and go, I could do that and I could wear it better, and they will actually say she wore it better. So here you have her, she's completely dressed yang dominant, right? She has the tux. It's sleek, it's sharp, it's angular, and she doesn't look masculine in it. She actually just looks like a powerful woman in it.
She's killing this pantsuit.
She's killing it. She is.
Okay, but mind you, and I'd be curious for those. Remember how Hillary Clinton, and not that we're trying to be super political, but remember how Hillary Clinton was wearing the pantsuits? She didn't necessarily kill it in the same way. Is it possibly because she's not intended to, like, she's not yang dominant?
Yep. Absolutely.
And so she's not as, have all those angles, right? I don't know what her body type would be, but I would like to find out. But that may be why those pantsuits didn't quite click on her the way she thought that they needed to. Absolutely. She probably could have wore a dress and been more of like kill the game and delivered that power statement because of her body type according to the Kibbe system.
Yes, and that's what I'm getting into. When you go against your lines, it just makes you look edgy. So if you are dramatic, the most yang type, and you want to look edgy, you draw on the feminine because it draws attention to the angles in your frame.
Say that again, because you even kind of lost me. So say it one more time.
If you're a dramatic, the most yang type,
so that's the rounder, or that's the fleshier.
No,
the yang is sharp. The yang is the sharp. Okay.
If you're the most sharp
type. Yang is sharp, angled, sharp. So Zendaya. Okay.
Yes. And you want to look edgy. You draw on the yin. So you draw on the feminine. So if you see her on this bike, they literally have her in one of the most feminine hairstyles on a motorbike.
Yes.
There's a reason for that, because
Okay.
it doesn't make her look more feminine. It just makes her look more intimidating.
It does. And she looks scary almost in this photo.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so
it's like haunting. Okay.
she's wearing something form-fitting, something short. She has a round hairstyle, right? You see the round detail. It just makes her look more edgy and sharp. And over here we have Gabby Wilson again, who is the most yin type, right? If you see her in this harmonious dress, she's wearing something light, something sharp, not something sharp, something light, something soft and lush, with small feminine detail. She looks so harmonious and elegant here. She looks like, you know what I mean? Like she looks,
Princess. She
yeah,
looks
she
like a
looks like a
princess.
princess. Absolutely. But if you put her in something more tailored, in something with like sharp geometric patterns, she looks more edgy here because it goes
She
against
does.
her lines.
It does. Okay.
And
Jada,
yeah,
you better
yeah.
kill this game.
And even with her hairstyle, right? So when she's in the yin, her hair is more round. And even though she still has curls, like they're more tailored and it still looks edgier on her.
So it looks edgier because it's sleek, because it's creating angles. When
Yes.
she's more yang.
Yes. So the hair when she's wearing the black suit is more yang.
Okay.
It's still feminine, right? But it's less round, it's more narrow, and it's more elongated.
So I just want to clarify that yin and yang have nothing to do with weight. So you could be 450 pounds and you could be 150 pounds and still be in a certain category. So
Absolutely.
it's not like round is referencing weight. So if I'm a size 18, then I'm automatically a yang or a yin. I could be either. So I could be yin. Is it possible to clarify that for me? Does size in particular have anything to do with where you're categorized in the system?
No.
Okay.
If Zendaya gains
And
300
I wanna
pounds, she'll be a
emphasize
300-pound dramatic.
she would be a 300-pound dramatic. Okay. I want to emphasize that because we've been taught that if you're on one side of a weight spectrum or another, or if you have certain endowments in certain places, that, oh, you automatically are over here. And this system is freeing you from that. That I, Dacia, what did you say that I am?
A flamboyant natural.
Okay. So I am a flamboyant natural. There could also be, and I'm however many pounds, 100 something pounds. And then somebody could be twice my size and still also be a flamboyant natural.
Yes. So a good example of that is Megan Thee Stallion is a flamboyant natural.
Can y'all, first of all,
you got the same body type as Megan
I
Thee
don't
Stallion.
have the same knees as Meg Thee Stallion. I don't have the same knees. Okay. I'm just going to clarify that right now. But the fact that me and Meg Thee Stallion, we on the same, what up, Meg? Let's talk. What up? So the fact that we have the same body type was like mind blowing. Like there was somebody else that you told me that I had the same body type.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Hot girl.
Hot girl summer. You can still be a hot girl with wide shoulders. Okay.
Hot girl fall. Okay. Who else did you say for me?
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Tracy Ellis Ross, who's got all of the booty in the world. She's known for her butt, right? And I don't have those same endowments, and that's okay. My husband is still slapping it anyway, you know.
I'm not mad.
So, I'll celebrate that and thank him for celebrating me too. But yeah, the fact that Tracy Ellis Ross and I are not the same, but yet and still we are in the same category. That is what I'm talking about. We are breaking down these constructs. Put
Absolutely.
freedom in the chat. We got some freedom. We're not limited. We're just looking at what we want to accomplish. What is our bone structure? And then how do we want to go about it? So people who are really trying to figure this out for themselves, okay? How the heck do they even wrap their mind around all of this information? Because it's like mind blown. Okay, what do we do?
I'm going to be honest. So if you want to do the easy thing, you can call me. Okay. We can talk to me. But if you do want to type yourself, it's a journey, right? So there have been plenty of times where I was wrong about my body type. I initially thought I was this. I initially thought I was that. And then, I think I settled on one, but even still, a part of me wants to even call some of the people I learned from and be like, would you call me that too? It's a journey. And I think the point of the journey, if you're going to type yourself, is to get in the habit of really looking at your body and getting curious about your body, not shying away from it. Being able to know your body, being able to go into a store and say, I don't think that's going to be harmonious on me. Or actually, that's going to be harmonious on me. And I want to be disharmonious today, right? Being able to really know what you look like and embracing what you look like. Yeah, so okay, I'm glad you asked that. There's a test online. Don't you dare take it. Kibbe did not Kibbe did not design it, and he actually said himself the test is flawed and it's just more confusing. And you'll probably get a different result every time you take it. So do not go online and look up Kibbe quizzes, please. I'm so glad you asked that. I almost forgot to tell y'all that. So it's one of those things where you really just have to do your research and begin learning the terms and really knowing your body, or you can just call me and we can talk. And I plan on making that a part of what I do. What about tall, round people?
What would they be considered? I think is the context of that question. Like, how would you define somebody who may be tall but round?
Okay. There is some things that come to my mind, but again, it's a little bit more than tall and round, right? So are you tall and round and wide in the shoulders? Are you tall, round, and narrow? Right. So I think that's another thing about the subtlety of the Kibbe system and why it's a journey. It's not broad. It's specific to you and your body type and what features you have. Does tall and round mean that that you're tall or you just look tall, right? What does that mean? The first thing that did come to my mind, if that does describe you, you can start with a soft dramatic, right? Soft dramatics are what we call tall hourglasses. So they're dramatics, but they have more fleshiness and more softness. But tall and round could be a flamboyant natural who gained a lot of weight, right? It depends more again on your bone structure and the way your flesh wraps around your bone structure.
And so the best way that you've been able, Jada, I know that they would have to have a conversation with you, but some of the best ways that you've been able to identify that is through looking at clothes that may be kind of helping to showcase the body, so that you can see, you consider height, because if you're a certain height, if you're over 5'5", right?
Over
That
5'7".
if you're over 5'7", then there are so many. It kind of cancels out some things for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if you're over 5'7", then you're likely in what category?
Dramatic, soft dramatic, or flamboyant natural. All of those types, you cannot be shorter. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, once you're a certain height, you're automatically yang dominant. Once you're 5'7", you're automatically yang dominant. So you fit in
You
one of
have
those
more
three.
angles. You have more angles. Okay.
And elongation.
So
Yes.
you have more angles, you have more elongation. So if that's you, then you're probably more on the yang side. So that can help to give some context for people who are just trying to start to digest this.
Yes.
I know that there was also another question: how do we style ourselves once we kind of know what these trends are? Like, how do we even begin to say, okay, well, this is how we begin to, style ourselves once we talk to you, we get it together, we learn our types. How do we start looking for clothes, or what was that process for you once you learned your type?
So once I learned my type, I began looking at clothing recommendations for that type. So again, as I've typed myself as a soft gamine, definitely contrasted pieces, waist emphasis, like right. So some of those recommendations, and with a little bit of feminine detail because I am soft, right? But also there are other theories that go into that. So finding your style priorities. So looking up different aesthetics, that kind of stuff, finding your style roots, figuring out what in your closet defines how you want to express yourself, defines you, and sticking to that. Because I think a lot of things we get caught up in style is going with the trends, and we end up with a bunch of stuff in our closet that's going to be out of season next year. And now we just have a closet full of out of season clothes versus finding out what you prioritize in style and buying those. They'll never go out of style for you. So an example for me is mom jeans. I've been dressing So I love to dress like the 90s because I was born in the 90s. I like to always look like 1994. Um, so before the 90s kick became a thing, I was already at the thrift store buying 90s clothes because I knew I wanted to look like the 1990s. And so once you understand what you want to look like and how you want to dress, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing, and you get to personalize it to yourself.
I love that. So not only are we limited by the fruit system, we freed ourselves from the fruit system tonight.
Okay.
We put that in the trash.
Right.
We freed ourselves from limitations of what we wear. It's just more so about the aesthetic and what you're trying to give off in that moment. If you want to be more intimidating, as you've put it, I want to come up with another word because I feel like intimidation has some negative connotations to that. So I'm going to come up with another description for that. But if you want to be more edgy in your look, if you want to, be more daring in your look, then you can go against your lines. If you want to be in harmony with where your lines are, for me, I have wider shoulders that you can kind of see through this top that I have on. And then I'm more elongated and I have more angles. And so then if I want to be harmonious with my angles, for me, blazers are my jam. I knew that even before talking to Jada about the Kibbe system. Blazers have always been my jam. I have a closet of blazers, okay? Me, blazers, coats, jackets was always my jam, all right? And I always knew that, but I just was like, I just feel good in blazers. I did not know that I was in harmony with my angles and my lines.
Yeah.
Me and Meg and Tracy, okay?
Right.
Me and my girl gang, okay? Girl gang, hashtag girl gang. I'm gonna do like a side by side, be like girl gang. When you see that, for those that are part of today's live, you're gonna know why. But I'm coming with it. So I can say that I just celebrate you, Jada, for being yourself, for discovering your own individuality, for even not being swayed by the trends to say, well, this is trending, I have to wear this. Don't do it, honey. Find out what works for you. Find out where your identity comes into play and what you feel best in. Can I just share that a part of my shopping experience is that I recently had a shopping experience where I put something back because I was about to buy it. I was at the register and I realized, and shout out to Marie Kondo because she introduced this with her purging process. I started identifying what is bringing me joy in my closet. And if it doesn't bring me joy in my closet, get rid of it. But then when I go shopping, do I love this piece that I'm about to spend money on? And if the answer is no, or if it's a question mark, I don't know, maybe, then we're putting it back.
Put it back.
This doesn't even bring me joy. Why am I investing in it? And so I just wanted to share that piece, if that freed you too. Stop buying stuff that you don't love, okay?
Yes.
Stop buying the crap that you don't really love because you're just trying to be convenient, because it was on sale, because it was safe, because whatever the becauses are, right? I made up a word, ignore it. But whatever your reasoning is, stop buying stuff that you really don't love, and stop wearing stuff that you really don't love. If it doesn't make you feel good, if you gotta keep adjusting it, if you gotta keep pulling and tugging, if you're feeling self-conscious when you're in it, because I have those clothes and I have worn those clothes like, I hate this dress, but I'm about to throw it on. Why?
Why are we doing this?
Why are we?
Don't do this.
Why? Can somebody answer why in the comments? Because I don't know why. But I have things in my closet right now that I'm working to purge slowly but surely, that I'm like, I don't even like this. This is ugly to me, but it's still just been hanging here for 3 years. It has tags on it because someday I thought I was going to wear it, but I don't even like the thing. I don't even know why I bought this. Y'all, I'm challenging you. Go ahead and start purging out your closet from the things that don't bring you joy, the things that you hate, the things that don't fit well, that don't feel good on. Trash, give it away. You don't have to trash it.
I'll take it.
Donate it. Donate it. Give it away.
Yeah.
Let's start appreciating ourselves, our bodies. Let's start celebrating who we are individually. Let's celebrate our uniqueness and our beauty and our look and our style. Let's not be dictated by this world that we have to look and dress a certain way. You find out, get with Jada. And by the way, Jada, I know I'm springing this up on you, but get with Jada and find out what works. Find out where you need to be. Find out what makes sense for you, and then go in that.
Mhm.
Let's move away from the oppression of feeling bad about ourselves. We have so much to do in this world, and we will not be limited by what other people's perspectives about what we got on and who we are and how we're shaped. Okay. So if you didn't get freed, I hope that this just freed you to be you and to celebrate you, your uniqueness, your beauty, and define your style in Jesus' name.
Come
I want to
on.
thank you guys for being a part of today's Restore Her Live. And Jada, if I know we didn't talk about this before technically, but would you be willing to gift somebody today with a free styling consultation with you? Would you be willing to give that away today? Is that
Absolutely.
possible?
I need more people to
Awesome.
talk about this with.
Awesome. So I want to give something away. Okay. So I want to give this freestyling away to somebody. And you don't have to live in her city. It can be a virtual thing. Okay.
Mhm.
She can work with you virtually. So Jada, let's see if we can pull this together because this is off the cuff. Okay. Y'all
Okay.
get excited, but I'm coming up with this. You tell me, Jada, you can tell me no. How about this? They get a free consultation with you.
Okay.
They get to shop with you
Okay. Yeah.
for an hour, and if it's virtual, they can take you along for the ride for a 1 hour shopping
Okay.
visit. If they're local, we can meet up locally. Okay,
Right.
we'll have y'all work out them details. So we'll give away a free consultation over the Zoom or phone or whatever, and then can we add in maybe a 1 hour for shopping and then maybe a 1 hour for purging of the closet?
Yes.
Can we do that as a bundle? Okay, y'all
Absolutely.
heard it. We making this up right now. I promise you, this is not rehearsed. Okay, so we're gonna give away. I just made a package for you. Now, y'all see how I'm hustling for y'all. Okay, I just negotiated something. You see this package I just put together, right? So we're gonna give away. It's gonna be a 1 hour initial consultation to talk to identify what your type is. And if you're watching the replay, I'm sorry, this is for our live viewers only. So if you're watching the replay, I love you. Thank you for making it to this point. And you can still reach out to Jada, and she gonna do what she do. But for our live viewers, okay, you're gonna get the 1 hour where you get to talk with her. You're gonna get to shop with her. She's gonna help you pick out some clothes, and she's gonna help you get rid of some stuff. Okay, so we're gonna purge, we're gonna shop, and we're gonna consult. Y'all with me? It's the 3-in-1 combo. Okay, this could be priced well over $600. Okay, we're gonna give
Absolutely.
it to you for the free. We're gonna give it to you for the free tonight. All right. Okay, you ready? All right. So what we're gonna do is Allison's like, I'm praying I win this. Okay, sis. You keep praying, sis. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the chat. So Jada, before anybody puts anything in the chat, Jada, I need you to give me a number.
Okay.
Or do you want to do something else? No, let's just do a number.
Okay.
I thought about color. Do you want to pick a color? That might be two. That's gonna no. Let's do a number.
Okay.
Pick a number. Let me know when you got it.
I got it.
Okay, she got our number, y'all. So y'all go ahead and put a number in from 0 to 100. It has to be 0 to 100 without going over. If you go over, then it's this out the box. Okay. We don't know where she is. 0 to 100. Pick a number. What if you guess the number without going over? Then and if we have to have a tiebreaker, then we'll figure that out.
Okay.
The number's coming on in. Come on, you get the 3-in-1 bundle. I just negotiated it for you. I hooked y'all up because we didn't talk about this, but I'm giving it away. She put her number and said praying. Yes, yes. Come on, you got your numbers. Okay, put your number in. We could have done anything to randomize this, and so there's no significance necessarily in the numbers. We picked that because it's usually easiest. Okay, are there any numbers? Last call for numbers. If you're on here, if you want to do it, put the numbers in. Okay, you got the numbers. Last call for numbers. Promise you, try to get in on this. It's the 3-in-1 bundle. Jada's gonna, and then what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to tag Glow Girl World once you get your style together and let us know how it went. In fact, you're gonna have to email us at restore at glowgirlworld. Retreat at glowgirlworld.com and
So
let us know
official.
how this hooked you up. Okay.
Go to the
I know.
retreat with the outfit.
Yes, pull up to the retreat with the outfit on. Okay. So, and then for those that don't know, we're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, October 28th through the 30th. You don't want to miss it. Okay. I'm telling you, Jada's going to be there. She's going to be doing more to talk about this Kibbe system, the more to talk about fashion and body positivity. She's going to lead some session. It's going to be a good time. We have 3
Mhm.
full days. Today is actually the last day, by the way, to get your discounted tickets. So if you haven't already got your ticket, you got a few hours left on the clock to go ahead and get your discounted tickets.
Y'all better tune in.
You better go ahead and go to glowgirlworld.com and get your tickets now. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. There's so much in store. We have some great speakers. Jada's one of them. We've had some more that are coming up that you're going to get a chance to touch and to be a part of. So we got the numbers coming on in. Okay, PB&J's family life. How you
I love it.
stuck? How are you? I said how you stuck, and I meant that. Um, but how you stuck? Okay, you put 63 first. So we were sold out of the discounted VIP. Yahara, please get your ticket tonight. Okay, honey, please get your ticket. If we should have a little bit more going on, so I'm gonna check that. But you should be able to still get a ticket or two. Okay. I will check into that, but you should be able to get a ticket. If not, email me if you're not able to get your ticket. But no, Allison, not both, not both, not both. We're gonna pick PB&J gonna have to get the first one that I see here, 63. Okay. If you put something else, 63 is it, all right? We're gonna anchor you in. We gotta be single-minded. All right. So a round of applause. Okay, no, okay, so 64. Okay, I'm gonna leave you at 64. I'm gonna leave you at 64. All right. That's where you ended. That's your final answer, sis. 64. We got you at 64. Okay. Jada, where we at? And while we're doing that, I'm gonna check on these tickets and see, make sure we are not sold out. You should be able to still buy your ticket tonight. Uh, okay, so drum roll, please. What we got?
The number is 24.
What?
Who did it? Who got it? Who got it?
Okay. Dang, Allison. Dang,
I
Allison.
was thinking, I was like, what Allison say?
Dang, Allison. She was so close. Dang, honey. You know, the King first 7 has 23.
Okay.
The King first 7 has 23. And I think the King first 7 is our winner.
Okay. All right. Yes.
The King first 7. If you could do me a favor and put in the chat right now your email address, if you wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
You could put in the chat your email address, and then we'll have Jada to reach out to you. Congratulations. You are, in fact,
Congrats.
the winner. Allison is like, I'm gonna have to sign up anyway. She's ready to pay her $600, Jada. So FYI, I put your first. This is where my business coaching comes in. I put in your package that's going in your pricing. So you go ahead and you offer that package up because clearly people want it. You got,
Right.
a few people in the chat that's like, I was fighting for this. I was praying hard. They were on their knees.
Come on.
You had PB&J in a conflict. She was like, I don't know.
You can
So
still
just
email
FYI.
me too.
Yes, but anybody. So what is your email? We're going to put it in the chat. So anybody who's also interested to learn more about how to get your services for pay or not, how do they get in touch with you? What's your email?
So my email is okay, hold up. I have a few. I was like, wait, what is it? It is
Inboxer.
Yeah, inbox me.
Inboxer
you're
on
not gonna be
Instagram.
able to spell it.
Inbox her on Instagram. We're gonna put it back in.
What now?
We're gonna put it back on in. So go ahead and follow your girl.
Right.
Go ahead and
DM
follow
me.
I put this one in. All right. So somebody said they might need a payment plan. It's okay. You go ahead and put that information in the DMs. Let's your personals. Let's go ahead and we're gonna talk about that. Follow her on Instagram. Congratulations. Okay, so for the winner, did she put her email in? Where is she at? Did she put it in? Where did she go? King first 7. Where you at? The King first 7. Now, if you don't claim it right now, I'm gonna move on to somebody else now. The King first 7. I need to see your email come on through, lady. Okay, you got 5 more seconds. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna check on these tickets and make sure we still popping in these streets. All right. So y'all be on the lookout. Somebody, if you know King First Seven, she dropped off the live. Tell her to come back real quick because we got to move on. Cause she gotta claim it right now. We can't claim it later. So let's see what's popping. Does anybody see her? Did you witness her? Okay, listen. Oh, we did sell out of the premium tickets. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. We did sell out of the premium tickets, excuse me. So I'm gonna add 5 more. I'm gonna add 5 more for tonight, just for y'all. So
Ooh.
just for y'all. So if there's somebody on here that still wants a ticket, go ahead and grab it. It's on discount. After this, the price goes up to $149. $149 is available through the end of September, and after that, it goes up to full price of $199. I'm gonna let y'all know now. It's not going down, it's going up. All right. So if somebody needs to get the ticket tonight, get it. Tell them I opened up 5 more slots. We got 4 more seats because we did sell out, but I'm gonna open up 5 slots for y'all. And then where is I don't see the King First Seven. I don't see it. Where is your email at? I don't see it.
Oh, sis.
She said you did. Where is it? I don't see it in the chat. She said it's there.
Send it again.
Yes, please post it again because I don't see it. I just want to make sure we got you because I don't want you to get off this live and you don't have it. So please hurry up and send it in. Put a bunch of happy face emojis so they see you. Yeah. Please put your email in again because we don't see it coming up. Sometimes there's a glitch. I just want to make sure you get your prize. Thank you guys for being while we're doing that. Thank you guys for being a part of tonight's live. It's been amazing. If you don't know anything about the Restore Her Retreat, one of the main reasons why we're doing this is because Black women are the highest ranking in every ism, every disease, every ailment. I mean, it's crazy. We are the minority, but the majority in every category of ailments, disease, stress, strain, unhealthy habits. We are at the top. And I decided that we were no longer going to just be out here suffering without support, without safe spaces, without resources to really start to focus on our own selves and take our power back in the Lord. We weren't gonna just be out here burdened and bound. We were gonna be out here walking free and empowered. And so that's what the Restore Her Retreat is about. And so if you haven't got your ticket in, if you don't know about it, then please let us know. You posted it twice. I see you saying you posted it twice. Somebody copy and paste it if you see it, because I don't see nothing, but you saying you posted it twice. Okay, so what I want you to do here, we're going to resolve this right now. Go ahead and email me at retreats@glowgirlworld. Please email me and let me know, and then I'm going to get your contact. Include your phone number and your email address. All right? Email me at retreat@glowgirlworld. And we'll include, hey, Michaela, okay, email me at retreat@glowgirlworld. I thought it was you. Email me at retreat@glowgirlworld with your email and your phone number, and we'll get your contact information. Congratulations, Michaela. You have won your bundle. I can't wait to see what happens for you through this process of transition and transformation in your fashion. And thank you guys for being a part of tonight. We're going to conclude tonight's live. You have been amazing viewers. And until next time, stay prayed up in the Lord. Thank you, Jada. Y'all show some love for Jada.
Thank you
Maybe
for having
YouTube
me.
won't allow it. Yeah, but email me, Michaela, at retreat@glowgirlworld right now. Don't forget, so we can make sure we get this prize to you. Retreat@glowgirlworld.com. We want to get you your prize. Thank you guys for being a part of Restore Her Style. And until next time, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. And thank you for being a part of a lovely audience. You guys were amazing. Amazing. All right. Talk to you soon.
Definitely.
Bye.